Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Crime Circus. My name is Drip Drop, and I'll be your host as always. Tonight's feature presentation is former CSI, Crime Scene Investigator Ashley McArthur. They say that she killed her friend, former police officer Taylor Wright, and they say she stole $34,000 and then killed her to cover up the crime. What do you think? Is it worth killing somebody for $34,000? With the potential to spend the rest of your life in a penitentiary? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. This is also a Florida crime. Makes you wonder, did she drink the same water or eat the same pie as Carlos Hallowell? Leave me a comment, let me know, and remember to smash the like button if you want to see more good content. Anyways, you may have seen a snippet or a clip of this interrogation elsewhere. However, I've seen it too, and it's terrible quality. These other true crime channels just don't care about quality. I do. And they don't care about you, but I do. So I obtain these high quality videos, and I spend a lot of time improving the audio. If you care about quality like I do, please consider joining my Patreon or YouTube membership to help support me monthly, and I'll keep obtaining these videos and presenting them to the world for free. Thank you. Now, let's see what Ashley has to say for herself.
Can you shut the door, or do you feel more comfortable with it open?
It doesn't matter.
Just for the record, can I get your name?
Ashley McArthur.
What's your middle name?
Britt, B-R-I-T-T.
Date of birth?
8/22/77.
All right. Let's start with your relationship to Taylor.
She's
Okay. And y'all met how long ago?
about a year ago.
How often did y'all hang out?
Probably once a week, twice a week.
Okay.
It would kind of go in spurts, depending on what she was doing. When we first met her, it was probably August or September last year. She would kind of come and go because she lived in Destin at the time. And it wasn't until she moved over here that I would see her more because she would stop by the house and different things. But like I said, we took her to an Alabama game and different things. And she had, at the time that I met her, she was living with Jessica Wood that works at the sheriff's office.
In Destin?
No, here. But she retained a residence in Destin, but she lived here.
In Jessica Wood.
Yeah.
Who was the residence with in Destin?
I think the girl's name was Rainey. She had a roommate, and to my knowledge, it lived somewhere around like just a side street, somewhere near AJ's in Destin. Zach may have, because I think he helped her move a bed or something down there, but I never went to that house down in Destin.
You know if it was a house or apartment?
That I don't know.
And was she dating Rainey, or?
I don't think so. I think they were just roommates.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
That's what's been so difficult. One of the things is
it's hard to.
She's with because she's partially in a relationship, but then she's also kind of sort of in another relationship. So we're trying to, pin all these down. Suppose she were to have ran off, who do you think she would have gone to?
I mean, really, after everything came out with the situation with Biloxi and all that, my understanding was that she had had kind of a long-term relationship with this girl in Biloxi.
Ginger,
yes. But like I said, the first day that I ever heard the name Ginger was that day that they were at the house and then all of this comes out. But supposedly she had been with Ginger for quite some time before that. I knew her to date guys that were in Destin right before she was with Cass, so I don't know.
do you recall like any guys' names or?
No. I mean, she told me, but and showed me pictures and whatever else. I mean, they were like big buff, like military guys that I felt like were similar to, it's probably mine, like her husband, ex-husband, you know, because that's the type that she always said that she liked. So it was kind of confusing because sometimes she would tell us that she was going to date guys, and then the next thing you know, she'd be with a girl. So we kind of didn't know, like, where she was at any given point. But like I said, I was surprised when the stuff came out with Ginger because she'd never even mentioned her name to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she had talked about people she dated. It wasn't, like, odd for her to tell me about people she had dated. Even women, because like I said, I knew about Jess. I mean, Zach works with Jess. It's Bruce Wood's daughter from, he's like a captain of the sheriff's office. He's there forever. And Zach and Jess are friends, so it wasn't like she was trying to hide the girl side of that from us, because I mean, we knew about her, and then she would tell us, you know, she told us about the guys that she was with. I think one of her trips to Vegas, she went with a guy.
Did she frequent Vegas?
She's told me she's been there 3 times this year.
More don't know then. It's frequent enough.
And I couldn't tell you when they were, but she posted on Facebook at least a couple of those trips for her being there. I know she was at the SHOT Show.
What's that?
Better explain. Oh, sorry. Come on, y'all.
We're stuck here all the time.
It's all the new weapons, ammunition, guns, knives, all that stuff that comes out. It's the trade show in Vegas or whatever. And I know that she was there, I thought, on business purposes.
Did she sell that kind of stuff too?
She had some sort of like tactical company. I don't really know. I know that she had been going to a lot of gun shows. A lot of gun shows, and I don't know what she was selling there. I never went and visited her or anything when she was there, but that's what she had been into lately, and she was going to a bunch of those. And I think that SHOT Show is like an invitation only. You have to either have like some kind of dealer's license or something to go to it. But she did say that she had gone to that. And I don't know what the other 2 trips to Vegas were for, but for sure she told me that she had gone to that.
Okay. And so the last couple of weeks, can you kind of describe what y'all's interactions have been like?
I'm mostly helping her. Like, the Friday before I met her, she said, I have a couple boxes. Can you help me move from the house that she had in Cantonment, that she was renting a room from?
Mm-hmm. First I've heard of a house in Cantonment.
Okay, maybe not Cantonment, my Mile Road. I call it Cantonment. Do you know about that one? Okay. Ambra Epley?
Yeah.
That's the person that lived there?
Mm-hmm.
That's who she was living with?
Mm-hmm.
First name, that name's called. How's her last name?
I don't know how it's spelled, but it's Epley. So I don't know if it's Eppely or L.
It's Amber?
Ambra.
Ambra.
My understanding is she works for Department of Corrections.
Is she white or black?
She's white. Big, heavy-set woman.
Or were they dating?
No, but she's a lesbian and she has a wife. And so Taylor was like living at their house.
Okay.
And
You know how long she was living there?
that's where, when she moved from Destin, where she moved to. So maybe April, May, she moved there.
A few months.
Yeah. So she moved in there, and she called me and she's like, "Hey, you know, can you help me with a couple boxes?" Hey, can I call you right back? Yep. All right, thanks, bye. She's like, "Hey, can you help me with a couple boxes?" Well, I'm like, "Well, which truck do you need me to bring?" Because I was going to bring one of the trucks from my office, and we have like a pickup truck and a box truck. Then she starts telling me what she needs, and I'm like, I'll just bring the box truck. Well, we ended up filling up the entire box truck.
Not a couple boxes.
Not a couple boxes, and it took all day long. And to the point that, like, I left the truck there for, well, even after all this happened, the truck was still there because she had not done at Cass's house.
Over on Berkeley?
Yeah. Because she hadn't finished with everything. And I was like, I'm going to kind of need it back because it's from the house. We got to use it, you know, because we move equipment and pull tables and stuff with the truck. But those couple boxes turned into a lot of stuff.
Truckload?
Yeah. Literally, it's not a small box truck either. I mean, this is full to the brim. And in fact, we couldn't even get everything because she has a storage unit with them. Ambra. They share a storage unit. And we couldn't get everything out of that storage.
Where's that storage unit at?
It's weird, but it's behind Battery Source on Rama Road.
You know whose name is it?
Maya's probably Ambra's.
Okay. So y'all were there. I know this is a tough one. You recall the locker number or where it was at in relation to pulling in?
When you come in, you go to the right, kind of wind your way to the back. I have no clue really, but it's on the far, if you're facing the set of storage units or whatever, it's on the far right side, which would be the east side, and maybe one or two rows from the end.
Okay. And there was, how much stuff of hers did y'all leave?
Well, a lot. We could only get, that unit was a relatively large unit. It probably had a full-size garage door in the front, and it was full to the front. And so we got a washing machine. We had to leave the dryer. It wouldn't fit in the truck. We got what boxes we could get out of there. But then, she's climbing over stuff to get to other boxes, but the way that it was situated, we couldn't get to anything else. We couldn't fit anything else either, but...
What does a washing machine look like?
The silver.
Like a new one, or?
Oh, it was a newer model, yeah.
Okay.
With a computer type thing on it or whatever.
Okay. What else did y'all do? So y'all went back, unloaded that?
We went back. This ended up taking all day. And went back to her house, and I was going somewhere. I don't know where I was going. And finally I was like, look, just park the truck here. Work on it. Mm-hmm. I'm done. I didn't sign up to be a mover. I was coming to help with a couple boxes and bring the guy from the office, but...
Okay. And then when was y'all's next interaction after that?
I probably saw her... Well, we went to brunch for Cass's birthday on Sunday. What did I tell you? maybe the 2nd. No, but probably the 3rd of September, maybe. I don't know. We went to Jacko's for brunch.
Okay.
It was Cass's birthday, and Taylor had arranged for everybody to meet down there. And she came by my house to change, because it was kind of supposedly a surprise brunch or whatever.
So y'all had brunch, and then did y'all hang out afterwards?
We did.
Well, when did y'all get together after that?
I don't. It's hard to say because she would just stop by the house. You know, I don't. I think I helped her with a couple more things of moving, picking up boxes and stuff. She came to my office because she was going to put some stuff there.
Did she end up storing some stuff at your office?
She's got some stuff, and then everything that was left in the truck, we took to my office. So all her junk is at my office.
Do you have a warehouse, or is the office a warehouse?
It's the same, one and the same. Like,
okay.
The front part is offices.
No, you're good. If you need to take something.
People, I mean, if I wasn't busy, they wouldn't text me.
Did you frequently communicate with Taylor on that phone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many phones does Taylor have?
I only knew her to have one.
No, you're good. If you need to handle something, we're good.
No, it'd be fine.
I mean, I get calls, obviously, that I have to take, so don't...
Well, the only, I have my business phone transferred to my phone so I can take calls at night for service and stuff like that, so that's why. I only knew her to have one phone until that Friday I saw a different phone, and the only reason I saw it is because, or noticed it, because it had the exact same case that her other phone did, but she had one plugged in, and then I saw her on the other one.
You know the number to that other phone? Or what kind of phone was it?
Whatever kind of phone she had, I think it was an iPhone.
Do you recall who she might have been talking to, or names that she might have said, hey, Bob, or anything that she... No, the first time you've ever seen her use?
To have two phones together, but like I said, they had the exact same case as the other one, so I wouldn't have noticed, you know.
Had she ever contacted you at another number that she didn't normally?
She may have, but I wouldn't have paid much attention. I get so many phone calls from like office and stuff, like I wouldn't have.
Your office phone, is that like a desk phone, or is that like a...
Well, we have an office phone that's like desk phones at our office, but like I have it transferred to my phone.
Okay. But when she called you, she normally contacted you on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you keep records in your phone of, do you like commonly delete numbers that called you?
No, it's whatever is there. I think iPhones keep like 30 days or whatever of whatever's available.
In the past 30 days or longer, if we're able to pull more, do you think that she could have possibly have contacted you from that other number?
It's possible.
Would you mind if we what's it called? Dump the phone?
Forensically examine your phone.
Yeah.
It just basically just dumps the phone. And we see the numbers that are calling. We don't look at anything. I don't know if like most people, there may be embarrassing picture there. We're not worried about that.
Yeah, we're not sure about that.
It's all professional. We're looking for one thing. We're trying to find Taylor. Is what we're trying to do.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind.
You don't mind?
No.
Okay, let me get, we just got to sign a form that you don't mind.
Yeah.
Is it password protected?
No.
Let me just grab the phone.
Yeah, that way, the thing is, even if we can find someone that she contacted on that number, we can go back and get their call log, or see if they'll give it to us, of course, and then we can find this number and then possibly ping that number.
Oh, sure.
You know, because at this point, we have no clue. We don't know if she's, like, had a mental breakdown and is, like, off lost her rocker and just kind of blow. I mean, she's got a lot of money on her. Who knows that she didn't plan on just maybe going and hanging out with another friend for a couple of days, and someone find that she had 20, 30 G's on her and was like, hey, I like that now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money to tote around for anyone.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's
Cash.
bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. We'd like to figure out where this other phone is, because apparently you were the only one to have ever seen that other phone.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't have noticed if she was using that one or the other.
Sure.
And, you know, I don't know if that stemmed from when all this happened with Cass. Taylor has always had, like, a fingerprint thing and a code in her phone.
Mm-hmm.
She let Cass put her fingerprints and stuff in her phone and gave her the codes to her phone.
She can access it with her own fingerprint.
Right.
Obviously on the one phone.
Right. And so I don't know if that's why the other phone popped up. You know, I don't know.
And what kind of phone was it? That either one of the phones that she had?
I knew her. I think it was an iPhone, because I think the messages that.
They come across as iMessages.
I think so. Let me check. Blue. Do either of y'all have iPhone?
Yes, I have two.
Is it blue that is?
I think blue is iMessage.
I think it is blue.
Yeah, I think it might say iMessage on blue, and if it doesn't go through that, it'll go green as a text message, I think.
Yes, I think green is text, blue is iMessage. Yes, blue is iMessage.
Blue is iMessage. Okay, then yes, it's an iPhone.
Right. Yeah, it's just saying you allow us to basically download your phone. That is done voluntarily, and we're not forcing you to give us your phone.
Oh, sure.
Is a busy woman.
Oh, they're ridiculous.
Are you one of those people that keep up with their phone and delete it regularly, or are you like me where you just go in there every so often, delete everything, and then...
I don't delete a whole lot. If it's just junk, like something that, like, I don't really need or whatever, you know, then...
I'll wait for my phone to get maxed out and say, you can't take a picture, you gotta delete some shit. And then I'll go delete everything.
Yeah, but, like, if it's just somebody that's randomly contacted me or whatever, and I don't... But most of mine, like, friends, you know...
Yeah, what we do, we don't delete anything.
No way, yeah, we're not gonna go messing with
Just
stuff.
sign right there, stating that you're giving us permission to look into the phone.
Okay.
And I'll go start that, and hopefully it'll be done by the time we're finished talking.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, if her phone could have died one day and she needed to call you, I mean, she could use the other phone. And all we need is one phone call. And that would be perfect. You know, we can get it confirmed service. And at this point, though, we have more leads to follow than we can.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, where are we at? After brunch, when y'all had made contact again?
I don't know. She asked me to, you know, go to the shop and stuff, and we were looking at where she was going to store the rest of her stuff and all that. So. Was
that the day that y'all were together? The last day that you saw her?
There was a couple instances for that, but we did go by there that day as well.
Okay, I know I did this with you over the phone, but just like I said, for official purpose. The last day that you saw her was what day?
On Friday.
That's okay. Friday would be the 15th or the 8th or the 1st?
I guess the 8th. I don't
Probably.
Whatever. I think it's the 8th.
That's what I've been hearing the whole time.
The days run together. It would have been whatever forever.
So the 8th of September, last day you saw her. And about what time?
The last time I saw her was about 4:30. Between 4 and 4
p.m.
Yeah.
And where was that at?
My house.
Your house is just for
3961 Raintree Drive.
3961 Raintree. So last seen on the 8th, approximately 4:30 on Raintree. Who was there at that address when y'all returned?
I was. Zach was. But she didn't come inside.
I just pulled up in the... Okay, so let's start that day from the beginning. At approximately what time?
10:30.
So we'll say it about... And what happened at that time?
I went to Cass's house there, or Taylor's house, whatever.
Their house in Berkeley?
Right.
Okay. You went there. Was Cass there?
Mm-hmm.
Now, did Cass leave before y'all, or did y'all leave at the same time?
Cass was still there when we left.
Cass was still there when y'all left. You're sure she was still there when y'all pulled out?
100%, I think so.
Okay. Okay. What were you driving that day?
My husband's F-250.
That big silver monster truck out there in the driveway? Okay. Driving the silver monster truck. Was anyone else with you when you picked her up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From there, where did you go?
We went to my office.
Now, did you just like pull up out front and she came and hopped in, or did y'all hang out for a little bit?
We were there for a little while because they were moving some things into the box truck that was there.
Okay. She and Cass was moving stuff in the box
Mm-hmm.
truck.
And it was supposedly the last of... They were going through some trash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if Cass left before us. And Cass was like a carport, and there were like boxes lined up on the right-hand side of the carport. And when I got there, they were going through that. But I think it was just stuff that was to be thrown away.
I mean, did Cass hang out there for a little bit too? Y'all hung out together?
We didn't, I don't think we ever went inside. We just stood there with all the, because the back of the truck had backed up to that, and Cass was eager to get the box truck and all that out of the way because I think one of her roommates was just finally getting everything of hers out. Because Cass had 2 roommates initially.
Mm-hmm.
And one left. The man, I think it's Chris, stayed and is a current roommate still. And then the other girl was leaving. I think that's why they were finally just getting everything. And I think that's what took so long to get the stuff in or out of the truck or whatever she was doing. I don't know. Cass said that she was struggling with what she should throw away, what she should keep, was it going to matter. Just
to your knowledge, the old roommate, was that a roommate or was that someone that Cass was dating?
my understanding was that it was just a roommate. But
do you think it's possible, or of course anything's possible, but
anything's possible with this situation. It maybe I got the impression she was a long-term roommate though. She had lived there maybe a couple of years. You mean? I don't know. I probably, before the move stuff, I'd probably only been to that house once or twice. Once was to drop off Drake. And another time, Taylor called me to come look at some court papers that she was doing. And that was kind of during the move stuff because she was talking about the issues she was having with Ambra. Which I think Ambra still has her TV, and that's been some sort of problem with.
And Amber's on memo.
Yes.
Okay. So you went to the address. We're not sure if the old roommate was a relationship or was it in fact just a roommate. But it was a female.
It was female.
Did you ever meet her?
One time, I think the night that I dropped Taylor's son off to Cass, she was there doing some work. I guess, was a graduate student of some sort, and she was sitting at a table, like, typing on a computer.
Okay. Obviously, with the minimal interaction, it's unlikely you could draw a conclusion. But did she seem like someone who would ever have any intent to harm Taylor for any reason?
No, she was very quiet. I mean, she may have said hi or whatever. She was very quiet.
Okay. So you went there. Y'all were moving boxes into a truck. Cassandra, y'all left. Did y'all leave in the box truck as well?
No.
So the box truck stayed?
The box truck stayed. The box truck was there until after all the situation with Taylor occurred. I ended up having to go pick up somebody from my office, bring them there so that they could drive, because I can't drive the truck.
I got you.
Not that kind of sick shift. Bring somebody there to get the truck and then bring it back to my office.
Okay.
And I don't know if Taylor took it to Destin that day or not, the day before.
When she was that the day
that I supposedly went with her.
You allegedly went with her?
Right.
For whatever reason that
yeah.
you were adding into that mix?
Exactly.
So y'all left there, and where did y'all go?
We went from Cass's house to my office.
Cass's house. So Berkeley to office. Do you recall what route you took, or any major road you may have gone down?
Probably went down. We went out to Davis and then down.
Okay. Out on Davis and then down, and maybe
Fairfield.
And then
States.
It's working. Sorry, I worked at the machine.
So you went Berkeley to Davis, obviously south, to Fairfield, to Pace. And your office is located at what address?
2414 with people there.
2416?
14.
2414 Pace. And what's the name of the office or business?
Pensacola Automatic Amusement.
And how long were y'all there? And what did y'all do?
We went into the warehouse. We were talking to one of the guys that was there. We had a fire there, and so she was looking around for that and at the different things that we were talking about and the different equipment, because she was talking about needing something for somebody. Some friend of hers was gonna open up a bar, and so we looked at a couple pool tables and things like that. And then she had to store some of her stuff, and so she was just seeing where we were going to put it, because she didn't want to have to go rent another storage unit, because she had been, I guess, paying for this one with Ambra or whatever. And I was like, well, you can stick it here,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And because we have plenty of space in there. And
Do you recall the employee's name that was there?
James.
So James was there. You know James's last name?
Hold on. I do know it, but like you asked me, and then I'm like, draw a blank. Hayes.
Hayes?
Yes.
James
Sorry.
Hayes. White male, black male.
White male.
The white male. He worked for you?
He's actually homeless, but he does work for me.
Well, that's cool. You get a homeless gentleman. Works.
He stays there at the office, and
It's like
we have space.
cheap security.
It really is, and he's a good person and try to help him, you know what I mean? But he's been homeless for like 12 years, and he just has an alcohol issue that sometimes is problematic for him. But
Hey.
well, recently he's gotten off the alcohol. He worked, and he built my deck.
Oh, yeah? It looked good.
Yeah, he built the deck, and we, of course, paid him to build the deck. He's been doing work for other people or whatever, and he saved up enough money back in April to take a trip to the Philippines for 25 days.
Really?
Yeah, he met some girl online, wanted to go visit her.
Was it a girl?
Mm-hmm. And he saved up enough money to go over there for like 25 days.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So he just, kind of needed a chance or whatever, and so.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it. That's good.
That's awesome.
They did good work.
Yeah, he really.
You can see the deck, and you can see there was a deck.
Yeah, I mean, he roofed it. He did the whole deck and
They held
everything.
a pig.
Yeah.
Some monster dogs. So, pretty sturdy.
Yeah. But he did every bit of that by himself, no helpers. Like everything. He's quite a good worker, so it's very useful for him.
So y'all went there to the office. What was your purpose for going there?
She just wanted to see if we had enough space for her to put what all she needed to put there. Because,
A couple boxes?
yeah, the couple, exactly. Because I think Cass was pretty annoyed by the truck still being there and the amount of stuff. Because I don't think Cass was aware of how much it was. Because the day that we brought the box truck initially, the day that I helped her move, I was driving my Jeep and James had brought the truck there for them. And when I pull up, they hadn't opened the back of the box truck yet. And Cass had just got home from work. And Taylor's standing there, and I'm like, what? And she's looking at me like, and I'm like, what's the matter? And she's like, telling Cass, don't panic. It's not all staying. Because, I mean, literally, we had filled that truck up. And what she had told me, and I guess what she had told Cass was, it's a couple boxes,
Sure.
And so when they finally opened up the truck, Cass is like, have you seen the size of my house? This is, how are we going to do this? Because she still does have that other roommate, as well, that's staying. And I think they're
Chris.
planning on selling that house too.
Yeah. So she can't have storage.
Yeah, it's not like they have rooms and rooms to store stuff in.
I mean, they have quite a bit of furniture over there as it is. I mean, it's well kept.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty organized. So I can't imagine how I'd feel with trying to sell a house and then trying to move in, 600 square foot worth of boxes.
Yeah.
So, but so you were there for about how long?
Maybe half hour or so.
Okay.
Because while she was looking for that, I was talking to James about things that we needed to do and get done and stuff at the office, because he helps me out with, moving machines and things like that when I need him to.
What were the rest of your plans for today? So where'd you go next?
We went back to my house, I believe.
What day is this? Sorry.
This is the last day that she spent with.
Oh, sorry.
So you went back to Raintree.
Right.
And what was your purpose for going back there?
To get any of the papers that I have for her and the money and stuff for her.
So the money was being kept at your house.
Right.
How long had the money been being kept there?
It was only there for a few days.
Where was it at before that?
Taylor had it.
Okay. So this whole thing about a safety deposit box of yours, anything about that?
Well, Taylor wanted to get a safety deposit box initially, But she didn't want her name or anything to be on anything that Jeff could find.
Sure.
So I was like, we'll just keep it and give it to you or whatever, because I don't know why she didn't keep it. She has a safe of her own.
Yeah, that's what's odd.
And I don't know if it had to do with she didn't want Cass involved with any. I don't know. It's hard to say what was going through her head, because I don't know why she was doing a lot of the stuff that she was doing.
So you had the money for, do you recall what day and how that conversation was brought up? Like, hey, 30 grand, keep it in your house. It's cool.
Well, it was only 20, and then she had other cashier's checks.
So it was 20 grand and other cashier's checks.
Right.
Do you know how much money in cashier's checks it was?
Not really. I didn't really look at them.
So you don't know if it was like $500 cashier's checks or $50,000 cashier's checks?
My understanding was that they were like large amount checks.
What's large? Because
like probably 30 or 40,000.
That's large. That's more than that's what I'm making a year, so that's pretty large.
Yeah.
It's large. Just there's some people are different, yeah.
Because she had taken out money, which I don't know what she did with, before in cashier's checks from Navy Federal. And she was pretty furious about, actually I was with her that day, she had like an $80-something thousand cashier's check, and
when was that?
Maybe in August. And she wanted to get all the cash, and they wouldn't give it to her.
Probably don't have that much cash in a bank.
Probably not. And so I don't know why she wanted it or what she was going to do with it or whatever.
Do you recall when that was?
Not specifically, but
I mean, are we talking like months back or?
No, probably sometime in August.
Okay. That she went to the bank and was asking for 80 grand.
Yeah.
Did you take her?
I was with her.
What bank was that?
Navy Federal.
In which branch?
Davis and Langley.
Sure, we go there and ask why they probably.
Oh, she was really rude, like to the people. Like, I mean, I'm sure they will remember, because like she was kind of nasty to them.
Okay.
Did she get any cash that day?
She got, I think, $15,000 is what they would give her.
They put the rest back in more cashier's checks.
Mm-hmm. And then my understanding is she went the next day and got more cash. I wasn't with her, but that's what they told her she could do, and that's what she was doing.
So she was just going back trying to get as much cash as she could out of this cashier's check.
I guess. But I don't know what she was doing with it.
And all this was in August?
Probably in July, August, yeah.
And how did the conversation come up with her leaving the money at your house?
She just asked me if I would keep it.
And how did that go? Yeah, okay, or?
I mean, she was always there, so I mean, I really didn't mind. And
Sure.
I mean, our neighborhood is an easy neighborhood. We hardly have any kind of issues or whatever there. But I don't understand why she wasn't putting it in her safe, because she had the safe at Amber's house.
On the mall.
Mm-hmm. And then she was moving it to Cass's.
Did she move the safe to Cass's?
Mm-hmm. Well, it went there, but then I don't know why they ended up not taking it out of the truck. But of course, now it's all at my office.
The safe is at your office?
Yeah, all of that junk is at my office.
Do you know what's in that safe?
I don't. Like, when we moved it, it was open and popped in, like, when we were trying to put it in the truck, it popped open, and then she ended up closing it, but I don't think there was anything in it because the door popped open. But whether she had all that other cash that she had taken out before, in there, I don't know, but it was with her at that house. The one I know.
At Amber's.
At Amber's.
Okay. So let's go back. You were at the warehouse on Pace.
Mm-hmm.
Where y'all were there for about 30 minutes. Where did y'all go after that?
Back to my house.
Back to your house. Do you recall what route you may have taken?
No. Probably Fairview.
Same little back up?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going there to get what?
The cash for her.
Okay. Did y'all end up getting that?
Yeah.
And then where'd you go?
We went back to Cass's house.
Then you went from Rangetree to Berkeley. How long were you at your house at Rangetree?
Not very long. Maybe 20 minutes or so.
And then y'all went to Berkeley.
Right.
Was Cass there?
No, she wasn't.
Okay. What'd y'all do there?
I sat in the truck. Taylor went inside. She said she needed to get some papers. And that's, I think, when she got her other bag. And she brought a couple, boxes out to the truck.
So she went and got a bag. What was in the bag? When you say a bag, like a garbage bag or duffel bag?
No, like a little, sort of like a tactical bag.
Okay. She never opened it up. Okay. She came out, y'all left. Where'd you go after that?
We went to ride by one of the houses that she was looking at.
And where was that at?
Off of Beulah Road.
Do you recall where that house was on Beulah Road?
I wasn't paying attention. I was talking on the phone doing work stuff when she was.
Could you find that house again if you wanted to?
Maybe, but I don't know. I really wasn't paying attention. She just wanted to drive by and see if cars were there, so I didn't really even pay attention to what house it was.
Okay. Did she ever mention any names of the person she was working in?
No.
You said, I think when I talked to you last time, y'all stopped somewhere?
At a gas station.
Out in Beulah.
Right.
Was that before going to that by the house or after?
It was after.
Okay.
So the house she was looking at is going to be somewhere between Mobile Highway and 9 Mile on Beulah Road.
So do you recall how y'all got from Berkeley to Beulah Road?
We went Mobile Highway. We went probably Fairfield to Mobile Highway.
Straight
Straight
down
out.
Mobile all the way?
Yeah.
So y'all went down Beulah Road. The house was somewhere between Beulah and 90 or 9 Mile.
Mobile and 9 Mile, yeah.
Yeah, on Beulah. And then y'all did what you had to do with that house?
Well, we just drove by. She was looking for a vehicle.
Okay. And then you went to...
And that's when we went to the gas station there to get a drink.
Okay. Went to the store. What did y'all do at the store?
She was on the phone, and I went in the store, got a drink, and got her another beer.
How much had she been drinking that day?
She had a Yeti type cup thing full of beer.
I mean, was she intoxicated?
She didn't seem to be, but I don't drink at 10 o'clock in the morning either, so I don't.
Sure. Did she seem like she was getting a little buzzed?
Not really. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Have you ever seen her drinking at that time of day before?
No.
So that was odd behavior.
And in fact, I said something to her. I was like, beer at this time of the morning? She was like, well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I'm like...
It's a perfect response for any argument. Well...
I'm like, brutal. Well, thank you.
Sweet. That's an awesome argument.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't even really know her to really drink much. Like, she's never drank much around me, other than maybe, like, a beer with dinner or something like that. Like, I've never seen her drunk or...
Okay. So, you left the store and went where?
That's when we went to go look at to see if, I guess, the vehicle was at the residence on Scenic Highway.
Okay, so you went down Mobile Highway, then you went to the store, then you went and looked at the residence.
No, we drove past whatever house she was looking at on Beulah Road,
Mm-hmm.
and then we went to the store, and then we went to see if because the vehicle she was looking for was at a residence on Scenic Highway.
On Scenic, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And how'd y'all get to Scenic?
The interstate.
That's like the interstate from Beulah.
Yeah.
Interstate to Beulah to Scenic. Did she point out the house? Did y'all pull in the driveway, anything like that?
No. I mean, she just wanted to drive by. I mean, I guess she was just looking for a vehicle.
Do you recall where that house was?
It's north of the interstate, somewhere right around Mackey Cove. Yeah,
And to your knowledge, this was an insurance type case?
that was my understanding.
Did you ever feel like she was being, like, deceitful about that?
Not really, but I really wasn't paying much attention. You know.
And the reason I ask these questions is because if it's just an insurance type fraud or some guy saying, oh, it hurt my leg, getting a little money, I'm not saying that person is like harmless, but I would say that there's probably less danger than if she was investigating something else or other things.
She's never told me that she's investigated any kind of like infidelity cases or criminal type cases. I know that she said that she was getting, what kind of case did she call it? And you'd have to check with the people that she worked for. I can't remember. She was getting some new type of case, but I didn't get the impression that this was that case.
Okay.
Whatever she said was to the effect that the attorneys, I guess, that she was working for, whatever, she was going to start doing some other type of casework other than just the insurance stuff.
Okay. So, you drove by there on Scenic, then where?
Then that's when we went to the farm.
Okay. Now, was the farm something that was a planned thing?
No, she just said she wanted to drink a beer, and we had talked about the farm because when they had gone, Cass and Drake and Taylor had gone to visit her mom, I guess, in Tallahassee not that long before, and they were talking about, they have animals and goats and all that stuff. And this was a family farm that I had, and so she was like, well, let me see, because her mom has stuff like that, and so we just drove out there, and she was just blowing off steam, I guess, and drinking beer, and we were just hanging out. I mean, it really wasn't a very odd day.
Yeah.
I didn't get the impression that, she was upset about the Jeff situation, but like, it wasn't unusual for Taylor to call me and be like, hey, do you just want to come ride around with me today or whatever? And most of the time I didn't because I had to work, but she'd call and say, I just want to come hang out, and skip over, sitting at home, I guess, and whatever. She was a strange girl.
Okay. Had y'all made plans, or like prior to that day, had y'all made plans of what you were going to be doing that day?
Not really. We talked about her, she wanted to get the money and stuff, and she wanted me to review some case documents or something that she had to make sure that she had typed it out right or whatever. But aside from that, we were supposed to go pick up the TV, but I don't know.
Not off Mom.
Right, and I don't know what the situation with that was. I knew about a week before there was some issue with money with her not wanting to pay for a deposit or some. There was some bad deal between her and Ambra, that she had talked about, but I don't really know what it was. Other than I do know that it had to do with some sort of deposit, and Ambra thought that Taylor owed her money. And I think that's why she's still holding the TV.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's why Taylor wasn't wanting to go get the TV that day or not. But there was some issue to that in Cass was there when we talked about it. I mean, I think they thought that she owed them for electrical or some mess, but
Sure.
whatever it was.
Okay. You say that that day she'd asked to get that money was part of one of the things that she wanted is to get the money from your place.
Right.
Had she asked before that at any point to go get the money?
Yeah, and I had been super busy that week because of what we had done before that, the week before, and I had just 8 million things going on. We were actually supposed to do it the day that she had the box truck moving it, and then they ended up just doing all that instead of.
So that week before,
Mm-hmm.
you just been busy, so you couldn't take her to get the money.
And she was gonna come by the house. I told her to come by the house, and everybody was just running around and doing whatever. So
And how long was the money at the house?
probably just a couple weeks.
Okay. Do you own a safety deposit box?
I don't.
Or does Zach have a safety deposit box? Okay. Who do y'all bank with?
Wells Fargo.
Which branch do you use?
I use the downtown branch.
Where does Zach use?
He never really banked, but downtown would be probably where he would go, or the Bayou branch.
Okay. Do you know anyone that works for Wells Fargo?
Randy Ard.
Randy Ard?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a male or a female?
Male.
Randy Ard. Which branch does he work at?
The downtown branch.
Okay. Have you ever visited any other Wells Fargos or frequented any other Wells Fargos?
Not really.
Okay. Have you ever been to Wells Fargo out in Bellevue?
I have.
Okay. Have you ever had a safety deposit box there?
No. They closed theirs, and that's the one that Taylor wanted to go get a safety deposit box at, but then all this stuff went crazy with the Jeff situation.
Okay. Do you know anyone that works there?
I don't.
Okay. When was the last time you've been to the Wells Fargo over in Bellevue?
Probably the week that we were there. Taylor and I went by there because she wanted to find out about when they closed the safety deposit boxes there.
What did they say?
I think they said July.
They closed it in July?
Mm-hmm.
When did you learn that they had closed it?
I don't bank at that branch, so anything that I would do would be downtown.
Okay.
And I don't know why she wanted to make it seem like she had a safety deposit box.
That's what's very peculiar to me. That's why I'm asking these questions, because it's come out that there was a safety deposit box apparently in your name
And I don't care if you have one or not. It's not that it's peculiar that folks are telling us that there was one, and that she has been telling people that she has one.
But she wanted to get one, and then she wanted to get us to get one together. So I don't know why the whole deal really occurred.
Why would she want you two to get one together? That's odd.
I have no idea. Everything that she does is kind of odd. But, I mean, she would call me and be like, well, let's go do this. Let's go do that. And then she'd call and change her mind. And she'd be like, well, I'm going to text you this. Okay. I mean, everything, the only way I could take it is she was very, very upset about what was going on with court. And I mean, I know she was trying to hide money from the Jeff situation, but...
And understand, that's a civil matter. That's not something we're concerned about.
Oh, I know.
I don't care if she was hiding $1 million from Jeff. I'm not Jeff.
No, I know.
She's not hiding money from me.
I wouldn't have to have anything to do with this if she wasn't trying to... I mean, this is a pain in the ass for me,
sure,
you know?
Sure, hey, all of us.
Well, I mean, it really is, because,
sure.
like, now I'm stuck with all of her stuff at my office, and, you know, even before all this goes on, she's got the truck for a week and this and that. I mean, just trying to help her. And, of course, the story that I get is a very sob story about how Jeff's taken all this money and he took all this stuff from her, and now she's just, you know, trying to hide it and move it and do all kind of just shady stuff with it. And, like, she's overinflating credit cards and stuff, like putting extra money on credit cards. I mean, who does that?
Paying more.
Right,
than the bill.
like paying more than...
So if you owe $500 total, she pays more than $500.
Like $2,000 or something, just adding...
So she has like $1,500 credit?
Yeah.
That's this, and we may not have told you this. What you tell us stays in here, okay? Our main goal is to find...
No, and I understand.
Yeah.
She just...
We're not... I don't know. You don't want to appear you are, that like you're trying to hold back anything or don't want to tell something that's maybe embarrassing, whatever. Just whatever you tell us stays in here, and we're not trying to... I guess we are prying into y'all's relationship because we want to know everything we can know about her.
I totally understand. It's just
we want to find her.
And it's hard for me because I guess I didn't know who she was until a lot of this, because what I knew her to be was one thing, and now what I'm finding out is
we're hearing that
something totally different.
She appears to confide in you a lot, though.
Well, and that's the thing that, like, I don't understand. Like, I thought we were very close, but then yet I don't know about this Ginger situation in Biloxi until the day it comes up. But I didn't know her to be, like, to lie to me, you know, and she was, in fact, that day that all that happened, she was like, you know, I felt bad for Cass, but it hurt me that I lied to you about the drugs and whatever else. And I'm like, well, you know, that's not anything that you can't fix. I mean, you did drugs a couple times, okay, it's bad, but stop.
Was her husband home then? Did he hear all this?
No, he wasn't there that day. Like,
Does he know every detail of y'all's relationship and the last time y'all hung out and all that stuff?
He probably doesn't, because
it's probably
he gets
a good thing then.
angry with me. He would get angry with me for hanging out because he's like, stop helping her, stop helping her, stop helping her. And I'm like, because I just didn't see her as a bad person. I mean, maybe
she may not be. She may not be.
But maybe I was too naive, whatever. I don't know. I just felt like the way that she put everything to me was like she was just trying to get her life together, to get her kid, to get back on her feet, and that Jeff had done so much, you know, to her to take away all of this money that she had and everything else. It just was. And so, of course, I feel bad for her, and I'm like, okay, well, do whatever you need me to do, you know, I'll help you, because I feel like she was kind of alone other than, you know, Cass. And
she wasn't away.
I've known her a little bit longer, than Cass has. And so, I was willing to help her. But then half the stuff that I thought to be true, now I find out isn't true. Or allegedly isn't true. I mean, I don't know, because everybody has it's like a wild roller coaster of stories, and I'm just like, are you kidding? Every day Cass will call and be like, well, this is the new thing for today, and this is the new person of the day, and no, her dad's not dead, and no this, and I'm like,
yeah.
How do you piece through it?
Yeah. Just to finish up that last day, you went and took this scenic highway north, and then from there you went to the farm.
Right.
The farm is where?
It's off of Highway 90 in Milton.
And that's the address you provided me?
Right.
And who owns that farm?
My aunt.
Okay. I think, did you send me that number?
I did.
I believe you did, yeah. Highway 90 in Milton owns the farm. Okay. And y'all were out there for how long?
Probably maybe an hour.
Maybe an hour?
Yeah.
And then from there you went
Back to my house.
back to your place. Do you recall what route roughly?
The interstate.
Interstate. Back to Rain Tree.
She and Taylor were still with you?
Yeah.
So, and you two were alone?
Yeah.
And when y'all get back to Rain Tree, can you kind of describe to me what the mood was like, the conversation was like?
She was fine. She just said that she wanted to go have a beer and that she was going to get an Uber to take her to go have a beer. And I said, well, I can just drop you back off at your car. And she's like, well, I don't want to drive.
Mm-hmm. So she denied your assistance, I guess, your help?
Yeah, I mean, because I was willing to take her. I mean, she doesn't live far from my house, so...
Did she ever mention anything about having a friend come pick her up?
She didn't, but, I mean, I couldn't tell you if she was going to, or, you know what I mean, if she really had an Uber come, or if it was somebody that was picking her up.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we got back, Zach and I were supposed to go out to dinner. We ended up going to, and I had to go pick up my Jeep. That's why I was in his truck, because the lady that works for me had my Jeep that day. And, of course, she's been avoiding Zach because he doesn't want anything to do with her. And so I went inside, and when I came back out, she had already gone.
Okay.
Where's all her bags at?
Well, she left the stuff in my car, or in Zach's truck, and when I didn't hear from her later, until Cass didn't hear from her, and then so I called Cass. I'm like, hey, I have this stuff that she left in here, and I knew it was expensive stuff. I have a soft-top Jeep, so I'm not leaving stuff like that in it, So I'm like, hey, can I bring this stuff over to you? Because she left the stuff in my truck, and so that's when I took it over to Cass.
And what was her attitude like?
Cass's, she just was kind of irritated with Taylor, but I mean, everybody kind of was, because I didn't think anything of it, because, like I said, she had been drinking all day and was kind of like, just in one of those moods, and saying that, she just wanted to chill out or whatever. And I don't know if she was frustrated with just moving into Cassis. She was really torn about moving into Cassis. Not because I think that they had any issues, but, there was all the infidelity mess. Mm-hmm. And Taylor, and I told Cass this, I didn't, wasn't trying to hurt her feelings, but and I had a conversation, because Taylor can be wild. Cass is not wild. Cass is not
She seems fairly reserved.
Party person. She's very quiet. She's pretty, and, I know Taylor to want to go party and have fun and whatever. I don't know. And so I asked her, I said, when she was talking to me about moving in with Cass, she said, what do you think? And I'm like, well, are you going to stay? you know, because I've seen her, you know, bounce between people. It's kind of a big step to move in with somebody, you know.
Well, yeah.
And especially coming off, like, the infidelity stuff, I mean, like, okay, are you going to stay? Is this just another little deal? And she's like, you know, I don't know, I'm going to try. But, I mean, Cass is the most reserved person I've ever seen her around. I didn't have a lot of faith that they would stay together,
Sure.
just based on Taylor's behavior, not Cass's behavior. I think that Cass is a good person, you know, and she's probably really good for Taylor. Taylor kind of tends to go to the wild side of more of a fun side, and so that's why I asked her, I'm like, you know, if you're going to move in, are you going to settle down? She said, I'm going to try. So,
Has she expressed any interest in leaving Cass at any time?
she just,
Or was unhappy?
She was-
or
I don't think Taylor was 100%. I know that she was really irritated about the house stuff. I got the impression that it probably wasn't going to be long term, only because she's like, she wants me to pick out this and this and this, and it's not my house, and I'm not going to be there. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to be there? She's like, well, you just can't stay. And I'm like, but Taylor, this is what we're talking about. Like, are you staying? What, you know? I don't know.
And this awkward question, but again, like Chad said, this all stays in this room. Had you and Taylor ever?
No.
Had she ever come on to you, or?
Taylor asked me one time if I would have a threesome with her and some guy, and I'm like, no, thank you.
And when was that?
Probably a week before that day.
So recent.
Yeah.
Do you know who the guy was?
I
Did
don't
she
know.
say?
She didn't say.
Did she show you a picture?
No, I just told her, like, I'm like, not my thing.
Yeah. Any other time she brought up that?
Not to me. I mean, she's never been out of the way with me or anything before.
And that was approximately, so she had around the first.
Somewhere in there.
Okay. And how did that conversation? Were y'all like hanging out, or she like hit you up, call you, and say?
No, we were together. I think it may have been the day that we were moving the stuff. Either the day or the day before that we were moving all of her stuff.
She just randomly popped up with this, or was there like a conversation leading up?
No, it was just like, hey, by the way.
Think she's being serious, or think she's just...
Oh, she was serious.
She was serious.
Yeah, for sure. Because they caught me off guard. I was like, what? No, thank you.
Okay. And again, this statement
I
here,
know.
you know, this is for purposes of locating her. It's not for purposes of us sharing with anyone else, period. In fact, it doesn't even have to go on any sort of documentation. If it helps us locate her, when we find her and she's all good, how we got to that step's really irrelevant.
She said nothing about the guy's name or how old he was, or white or black, Hispanic, or anything like that?
She just said he's hot and her type.
Okay. What's her type?
The only way that I know that is, like, I know that she does like super buff, like, military type, you know, hard body type people.
Sure.
Tall, muscular. And those are the types of people that she showed me, like, when she was going out with people in Destin, that she was seeing.
Do you recall if she had spoke to a guy that day?
I didn't really pay much attention to her. Like, honestly, like, Taylor talks so much. She is a very, like, over talker. I just kind of sometimes tune her out and going about my business. Because I get a lot of business. Well, you see how my phone is.
Yeah.
I have a lot of, like, constant whatever. And so a lot of times when we're together or whatever. And she just, would say she wanted company or whatever. She'd just stop by the house if I was there. And I'd, still continue doing my thing, and she would do hers. She'd even come by the house, like, if she was bored and trying to type over board or whatever, and swing by there and just type it just so she wasn't sitting in Cass's by herself or Esley's by herself. And, I mean, I didn't mind. It just...
Has she ever mentioned Cass being jealous that y'all were hanging out so much?
No.
Has your husband ever expressed concern or not interest, but just jealousy that y'all hang out a lot?
No, he just didn't want me to hang out with her. Like, I don't see Zach as being jealous of me hanging out with her.
Have you ever accused y'all of being intimate?
No.
Okay.
No.
Would he care if he found out that y'all were, or heard from someone that y'all were?
No, he wouldn't care. He'd probably be like, oh, it's cool. I mean, he's a guy. I mean, come on. He'd be like, can I watch? Or some shit like that. I mean, realistically, that's what he would do.
I guess we are prime. We have to look at every aspect and every angle to see.
No, I know.
Have to. Because, again, if it turns out that some one of these 10,000 people on Facebook made a suggestion or a comment, and we didn't even follow up on that, and it turned out to be something real, or some person called in with the lead, one of these 10,000 people called in with a lead.
Well, that's the weird thing about, like, that person that, like, Cass called that lady back. I don't know if she told you when she and I were sitting there at my house. And the lady's like, this is Taylor. And then she's like, oh, this is Maria. And we're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And Cass is like, because Cass had it on speakerphone. And she's like, well, have you seen her? She's not here right now. Or she said something to that effect. It was never like, no, I don't know her, or no, like, who were you talking about? It was just a really weird conversation. I think that's the one that ended up turning out to be somebody that ended up asking for money.
Yeah, she did.
Y'all are going to get a bunch of those.
I mean, it was really strange, but she just happened to be at my house at the time, Cass, and we were sitting there listening to it, and we were like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's why I don't always necessarily agree with these Facebook posts. I guess I'm sure Brian had good intentions.
Oh, I'm sure,
but you can see the problem that it can stir up, because now there's all these people that we have to chase down that could be just looking for attention or looking for some, thing.
I mean, to me and Cass, it was like that too, because we're like, most people would say, if you call them, hey, is this Taylor? Or do you know Taylor? No, I don't know who that is. You have the wrong number. I'm sorry. Or something to that effect. But the conversation was much longer than that. So we're thinking, okay, well, is this the other number? Or is this somebody that knows her or whatever? And so we leave there thinking, like, okay, well, maybe this is. And then Cass later calls and tells me that this person starts asking for money. I'm like, what in the world, I mean, don't waste everybody's time.
Well, you can rest assured that is exactly what's going to happen when you have this many crazy people see this stuff.
You say there's not a safety deposit box. Obviously, we're going to follow up with Wells Fargo to see. We're not going to find one in your name or your husband's name.
No.
Or one that you've gone to, or they've allowed you to have access to. Okay.
Do you know who harmed Taylor?
No, I don't. I don't know that she's been harmed.
Did you harm her?
No, I didn't.
Do you know if Cass has harmed her?
No. I wouldn't think so. Like, I don't believe Taylor's been harmed. I think Taylor's doing what Taylor does. But I don't know. The only thing that I can think, Taylor is a very tough person. She's always come across as being tough and never made it anything other than, she's always carrying weapons, whether it's knives or guns or whatever. She's not an easy target. She seems to always have everything together to a degree. The only thing I worry about is with the drug situation. Like, I wouldn't even, if I didn't know about the drug situation, I wouldn't be worried about her. I would say Taylor's doing what Taylor does. But then that lifestyle becomes a different group of people.
Sure.
Which is what I worry about with her.
Sure. And we don't know that she ever had intentions on leaving. Maybe she wanted to go have fun, and then someone found her with a bag full of cash. And that's why we have to follow down every single avenue and ask all these
Ask about all the vacation spots and all that stuff. Have you talked to her about that?
We didn't get into that.
Did she ever talk about where she would go if she wanted to hide?
She never talked to me about hiding. She talked to somebody, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Cass, that she could just disappear if she wanted to. The only places I know her to go is Vegas, Savannah, Georgia, Destin. I think her mom lives somewhere around Tallahassee. I know she has friends in Jacksonville. I know that on her way to North Carolina when she took Drake back, she wanted to stop in Jacksonville, Florida, and Savannah, Georgia. And I don't think Cass wanted her to visit whoever was in either of those two towns.
In Jacksonville or Savannah?
Or Savannah. And so she said that she wasn't. And so she told me that she was not going to go there. And I think ended up saying, does she have a home in Atlanta, Georgia?
I've never heard of her having any connections to Atlanta.
Okay, well, she told me when she was going to take Drake back that she was going to stay at her house in Atlanta that's just outside of Atlanta.
Where's Savannah, Georgia in relation to?
It's right near Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, you're just like...
From the other side of the state line.
Yeah.
It's south and to the east of the...
So not near Atlanta?
No. I mean, that's on the other side of the state.
Multiple hours.
At her house. She seemed like it was another lie, or did she seem like she was...
I didn't know Taylor to be a liar, though, until all of this comes out. So okay, let me say this. I didn't know Taylor to be a liar, except for the fact that I knew she was trying to hide all this money and do all this stuff. I know she was going to try to go to Jeff's supervisors and stuff and get her son back. And so I guess she had evidence against him, or whatever it was with that. And she was trying to prove that he was unfit for the son so she could get the son back.
Is that possible, you think? You think she'd be able to prove that?
I don't.
Did she ever tell you what made him unfit?
Well, I mean, the story that I get is that Jeff was the aggressive one and that he was the one that would be, like volatile and violent with her. But now I'm hearing that it was Taylor that was actually that person. So I don't know. I mean, she's told me that he's taken, supposedly she got like a $250,000 settlement from some car wreck she had.
Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that, well, this is what she told me about the court case. That she had gotten a $250,000 settlement from her insurance company on some accident that she had. And then the court said that because she put it in a joint account with Jeff, it was commingled.
Yep.
And then he took like $160,000 of it prior to the court date. And so then, because it was together, then they had to split, I guess, whatever was left in that account.
So we got even more.
Right. And so that she was furious about. And then I guess they do, what made me not question that Atlanta house thing is because I say they do have houses together. She told me that they have multiple properties that are to be sold.
In their divorce? Or
yeah. So I I guess I just assumed that Atlanta house was one of them. I think he has a home, but my understanding is they own multiple homes that are now supposed to be sold because of the divorce.
Are they collecting rent on those homes right now?
That's my understanding, that Jeff is the one that's collecting the rent on the homes.
Do you know if there are any vacant homes? She never really mentioned.
No. Well, she did tell me that Jeff was getting the rent for them. So, I mean, she never said that they were, having to pay out anything on these homes. But
She ever talked about leaving the country to go on vacation or anything?
no. I mean, the things that she would talk about mostly, Vegas, Atlantic City, because I think there's an aunt that lives up north somewhere.
She's got a gambling problem.
She does have a gambling problem.
Have you ever went with her to casinos?
I didn't. I actually, the weekend that she was going to take me to my 40th, and please don't judge me when I tell you the story, because you're not going to even believe it.
Let me stop you. I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and I've been talking to people here for 9 years. There's nothing you can say that I will not believe.
It's really not bad, but it's really like the craziest bunch of mess you've ever heard. Taylor, a friend of mine that was with me, Taylor decides that she wants to take me to New Orleans for my 40th birthday, because I just turned 40.
I love that place.
And I'm like, okay, well, sure, we'll go. And she plans the weekend, gets a hotel, all this. It's supposed to be me and Taylor and my friend Audrey and Cass. And no, Audrey and I are not together. She's a different. And I don't, there's nothing between Cass or Taylor or Audrey, but, I was just friends with her. So and I don't have a lot of female friends because shit like this, they're dramatic and I don't want any part of it. I am not a shopper. I don't want to, go to the mall. I don't want to do any of that bullshit. So she plans this. Well, my friend Audrey, the Friday before we're supposed to go to New Orleans, she calls me on the phone and she's like, hey, you need to come to my house. My mom's dead. Oh, so I go to her house. Her mom had passed away in her sleep from a heart attack. Well, Audrey was supposed to go with us. And I had a busy work week too, so it was like, I told Taylor, I said, I'm sorry. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it. I'm like, I am swamped at work. Now, Audrey, I don't think can go because her mom just died. So, you and Cass go have fun. I don't think I can go. She's like, well, please try to come, please try to come, please try to come. I'm like, we'll figure it out. I'll do the best I can. But I know I cannot leave on Friday because I just have too much work to do. So I'll try to get up and come Saturday morning. And if Audrey can get a babysitter for the night, maybe it'll be good for her to get out because, her mom did just die, whatever. So Audrey gets a babysitter. We go to leave. We're leaving. We get across the Pontchartrain Bridge. Audrey goes, you got to pull over. I think I'm having a heart attack. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, do you want me to stop or do you want me to get you to the hospital? I'm like, you want to call an ambulance to you or what? She's like, no, just go. So I'm driving from the Pontchartrain Bridge towards downtown New Orleans at like 95, 100, hoping that a cop stops me. Yeah, because then I'd be like, take her, do something. But, of course, at that point, no, I don't do pull over. But luckily, at Canal Street, University Medical Center is right there. Sure. And I go to New Orleans a lot, so I knew where it was. And Tulane Medical Center is just right there. So I'm like, okay, I can get you to a hospital. I know where there's one. We pull in there. And I don't even know what time it was. We pull in there, take Audrey inside. They end up admitting her. Her gallbladder has ruptured or whatever, and she is having like a gallbladder attack and has gallstones and a duct and all this. And her mom's funeral, this was the Saturday, her mom's funeral was the Monday. She had surgery on Tuesday. She missed her mom's funeral because she is stuck in New Orleans in the hospital. She didn't even get to come home until the following Wednesday. So my trip to New Orleans for my 40th birthday was hanging out with friends in the hospital because that night, Cass and Taylor came to the hospital to see her. I ended up leaving the hospital at like 3 o'clock in the morning, went to the room, slept, went back to the hospital, hung out with Audrey. Then of course, we planned on going home on Sunday, so I had to go home because I had stuff for work. Then on Monday, when I got done with my work stuff, I drove back over to check on Audrey in the hospital, drove back to Pensacola.
In one day?
Oh, yeah, but
You're a very good friend.
Well, but what happened was her dad couldn't come to her. Nobody could because her mom's service was that day. So she had no family that could even go over there and check on her. So the poor girl's stuck in another town in a hospital by herself, facing surgery. And I'm like, well, I'll drive over. Here I go. I went to the store, got her some Sprite and Jell-O and whatever else she could eat, toothbrush, and drove back. And then finally the next day her dad was able to go, so it took it off my relief, But, so that was our trip. But the point of that story was, I know that the Friday night, I wasn't there, I know that Taylor and Cass had spent a bunch of time at Harrah's. And my impression was that Taylor probably did spend a lot of time at Harrah's in New Orleans because when I was coming over, she's like, where are you going to park? And their hotel was at the Westin Canal Place. And
right across the street from the Harrah's.
It is. But they have really good parking there because of the mall. There's the thing. And so I'm like, I'm going to park at the parking under the hotel. And she's like, well, it's expensive. She's like, I can get you free parking at Harrah's. And so that's what made me think, okay, well, she probably has been there multiple times so she can get a bunch of comps, But we were staying at the Westin, so why not park at the Westin? I mean, you just get in. It's the same elevators that go from the mall to the hotel, so It's much easier, obviously, than parking at Harrah's and dragging your bags across. And of course, this is the conversation we had before. I know that I'm actually not going to the hotel. I'm going to University Medical Center with Audrey. But that was the impression. I know they spent a lot of time that Friday and Saturday at Harrah's in New Orleans. But that's not the first time that I've heard, her want to gamble, and that's been sort of an ongoing.
Have you ever gone with her to a casino?
Mm-hmm.
How about to like the dog track here in Pensacola?
I know that she does go to the dog track in Pensacola, but I've never been with her.
Has she ever spoke about winning any large amounts of money out there?
She never really talked.
She ever talk about losing a lot of money out there?
Mm-hmm.
What about Biloxi? Did you ever go there to Biloxi? You know what casino she would go to in Biloxi?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I didn't know.
Atmore.
That's when
Did you go there?
I've never heard of her talk about going there.
I don't think you can play cards.
You can't play cards there. It's just videos right. Being slot machine things or whatever.
How many times have you gone to New Orleans with them?
I've just been that one time that I spent in University.
How long would have been in the room with them? Or how long? Anything?
I probably got to the room around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think Audrey called me at 8 in the morning to tell me that they were scheduling her for surgery.
So wasn't there long?
No, I was probably there like 5 hours. Slept for a little bit, got a shower, and went back to the hospital.
And it was just you three there?
Mm-hmm. I do know that they met somebody the night before. And I asked Cass this, and she said she didn't seem to think that Taylor knew this person. But he was buying them bottles and stuff at some strip club. And I guess he called them to hang out the next day, too, when they were there. But like I said, I didn't even get to eat in New Orleans. I was doing the hospital thing, but all day, or for that Friday, and then during the day on Saturday.
Who paid for the room, didn't you?
Taylor.
Do you know what form of payment she used?
I went there when they checked in, and I wasn't there when they checked out. I was just there for that little bit of time, early Sunday morning until a little bit later Sunday morning.
Were they awake when you woke up?
Mm-hmm.
Any other purchases you recall her making, Taylor, for you or y'all at any place?
In New Orleans?
Anywhere. Anytime over the past year you've hung out with her, Anytime you can recall, she took to cover the bill and used a card or some other form of payment?
A lot of times, like, Taylor would pay for dinner or things like that.
The reason I ask this is I want to know what other cards that she may have access to and may be using.
I don't know, but I wouldn't have paid attention. Taylor used cash a lot.
Obviously, that's difficult to track.
I know that she told me she had a Navy Federal account and Wells Fargo account and I think a USAA account.
No. Is that a bank?
Yeah. I'll write that one down so I don't think I'm aware of that.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard that one.
So I don't forget.
But yeah, it wasn't, I mean, like, when we went to the Alabama game, I mean, we paid for the hotel or whatever, and I'm sure that Taylor bought, like, dinner or whatever else when we were up there for us because we, paid for the hotel. And
Was she free-spirited around your husband, like, walk around and or she really, like, cover herself up when you are in the hotel room?
Oh, she would cover herself up. She was pretty reserved around Zach.
That's when her and Zach were getting along.
Right, yeah. It wasn't until the past probably 2 months that he's been just really put out with her. But once I told him about, like, knowing about the drug use when she came to us that day, he was like, no.
Put her off.
Yeah.
Is there any reason or anything that could have happened that would lead Cass to think that you and Taylor were involved?
No, not at all. I wouldn't think so. I mean, we haven't ever been that. I wouldn't think that Cass would think that either. I mean, Cass has never treated me in any way like that.
Any other reasons you can think that Cass would be upset with her other than, of course, the infidelity?
Just that. I know that Cass really... In fact, I didn't have Cass's phone number until after that occurred. And then she would check with me, like, if she knew Taylor was with me and say, like, is she with you or whatever. But I know that Cass was concerned the day that, like I told you that day that I had Drake and that I had to bring him to Cass because Taylor wasn't anywhere around when she was supposed to be. And Cass said something about it later, that she still didn't show up even though she kept saying, I'm just right around the corner, I'm just right around the corner. So, but I know Cass was still nervous about what Taylor was doing because I think that it caught her off guard. It caught me off guard. I didn't expect it, but I didn't really get into their life. You know what I mean? One odd thing that I think is odd that I told Cass, and I sort of felt bad about it because, I didn't. First of all, I thought Taylor was going to be home that next day. The Saturday after the Friday, I was supposed to go to a wedding. Taylor, in fact, that Friday, we talked about, she asked me, hey, are you going to this wedding? And I said, yeah. And
Taylor asked you that?
Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah. And she's like, well, can I come? And I'm like, well, I guess so. And she's like, okay. And the reason she wanted to go to the wedding is because Jessica Wood was going to be at that wedding.
I'm tracking. Okay.
So, because it was Jimmy Tatum and Christy Berry's wedding, and it was all cost. So, I mean,
did you end up going to the wedding?
I did, yeah.
Obviously, she wasn't there.
Taylor wasn't there. Jessica was there.
Sure. Did you talk to Jessica?
I didn't. I mean, I may have said, hey.
Sure.
But,
she wasn't aware of anything that may have been going on that she hadn't been heard from that night before?
No, it didn't seem like, I mean, everybody there was doing their own thing. In fact, I texted Taylor the next day and asked her, are you coming to the wedding? When I heard from her, and source of info from her, but I thought it was odd because if she's going to be with Fast, why are you trying to get to a place where Jess is going to be?
Yeah. And that's kind of why I asked the question earlier. Had you, even if in your mind there was no intent to show like affection or interest in Taylor, is there anything that you did that could have been perceived that way?
Maybe so. On this case, like Taylor is a hugger. You know, like she will hug you, kiss you bye or whatever, and be like, "Oh, love you on the phone" or whatever like that. But I'm from the South. That doesn't really shock me in people. So,
any interactions in person where Cass was around?
I mean, she would always hug me bye and stuff like that.
Did you ever see Cass kind of get or appear bothered or anything by it? Or do you think Cass would show that she was bothered if she was?
I don't know her well enough, but I just know Cass to be very sort of consistent and stable. Now, I mean, it did bother Cass when I told her about Taylor wanted to go to the wedding with Jessica, you know, being there, but.
So there was a huge dollar.
In fact, like, that day, Taylor asked me if she could come to a wedding with me. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then I find out that the reason she wants to go to the wedding is because Jessica was going to be at the wedding.
Let me guess, this is
Tatum's
wedding the
yeah.
other day? Yeah, I've seen pictures of that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But see, she knew that Jess would be at the wedding because Jess and Christy were together.
Right.
So, but she really wanted to go to that wedding. And, like, basically invited herself to come with me because we were going to the wedding.
Your husband go with you?
He ended up going. He hadn't planned on going. He had to go to the, I don't know what he was doing. There was something he had to do. Anyway, there's a time that he didn't think he was going, but he ended up going. And she wanted to go. I was like, well, I guess so. But.
Now, was it like assume that she was just going there to see Wood, or did she actually express that?
Oh, she told me that.
I'm going there and I want to see
Jessica.
Was Jessica going with a date as well?
I don't know. I mean, I saw Jess there, but I mean, she may have like walked by the table and said hi or whatever, but I didn't really pay much attention. I mean, Zach and Jess are friends. Like, I just know her from the few times that I saw her with Taylor and when we dropped her off at her house once or twice. When she lived with Jess earlier.
How are we doing on the phone?
It's still working. Yeah, I guess you probably don't delete a lot of stuff either, do you?
Sorry.
I'm trying to get it done. It's working.
No.
It's checking it wrong.
It could be good though, because if she contacted you 9-10 months ago, who knows? We'll be able to pull that number. Anyone else you can think of that she showed interest in or mentioned lately? Obviously, this Wood character who she used to date, she said she's shown interest.
And Cass, you have to ask Cass this who she told. She told somebody. Somebody has told Cass since all this has occurred that she said that she would leave Cass and go back to Jessica.
That's interesting.
Well, I haven't heard that either.
I don't remember who Cass told her.
I can't remember if we talked about this when we had. We talked about a lot since we've been here. Guys that she may have been fooling around with. Does the name Justin or Jake or Jack or any of that sound familiar, like somebody she may have been talking to?
Never heard that name before from her.
Nothing like that. Somebody named Russell, maybe?
Last name, maybe?
Does she know anybody in Mobile?
Not that I know of. Not that she's talked to me about.
Now, I'm not super up to date on all these like dating websites and hookup sites, but to your knowledge, was she a part of any of these like hookup sites or?
She's never mentioned them to me.
Do you know how her and Cass met?
I think they met through a mutual friend.
Have you ever known Taylor to be at Tinder? What chance has she ever talked about?
You never talked to me
About Plenty of Fish in particular.
No, you
Hmm.
If someone was going to hurt her, who do you think would do it, or who do you think would have done it?
I don't know anybody that would want to hurt her.
Who do you think would have the most to gain and the most motive doing it?
I mean, obviously Jeff is the only person really that has any real interest in. I mean, that's the battle that she's going through. But then, like I said, I hear from her that he's the violent one, and then I hear from what he's told Cass that she's the violent one. I don't know. I mean, Taylor's always been very one of those people that wants to appear tough, act tough. I mean, she, tells me about all the SWAT training she has and all her martial arts training and this and that, and, she's super badass and whatever. But that's how she wants to come across, Like, if you look at her life, it's like that. Like, if you're in her car, everything's tactical. Everything's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's all like super whatever. And that's just how she wants people to see her. There's not a real soft side to Taylor. It's all.
That's what I was just going to ask. Have you seen her soft side, her girly?
Yeah,
she's got to have a girly side.
I saw it once, and it was insane, and I told her this. It was the day, and it was just recently, the day that Cass's brunch for her birthday. And I don't know why she came by my house to change. I don't know how this occurred. Jack was furious about it because he was like, why the bitch coming by here?
It sounds like, I don't even know your husband, but like the 10 minutes I spoke with him, that's like a
he
pretty
holds
good
nothing back. He has zero filter. It's just.
Most cops don't have a filter.
He has none.
Most cops don't.
And so I don't know why she didn't change at her house or whatever. It doesn't matter. But she comes by and she's like, hey, which dress should I wear? And I'm looking at her like, are you on crack? You don't wear dresses. And she's putting on these like dresses, and she has like 4 of them that she like just bought. And I'm like, what? You're gonna wear a dress? And that was really odd. Like, I said it to her because I'm like, this is weird. I've never seen you in a dress or tried to look like a girl. I mean, most of the time she looks like a guy. She has on like board shorts, and she comes across like she doesn't ever appear like soft or womanly, or everything's just always hard.
She's a controller of her and Cass?
Oh,
she'd be the dominant one.
For sure. She would probably not want it to appear that way, but 100% because Taylor thinks that for sure she's smarter than everybody else. She just is that way. That's always the way that,
Well, she's trying to hide right now. She's doing a pretty good job.
Pretty smart. She's not the dumbest person I've dealt with.
Oh, I don't think she's dumb at all. But but that's something that, she will talk about. she's very proud of her intelligence. She's very proud of everything that she's done. She's very proud of being a cop. She's very, whatever. And I do remember now what she told me about that nice little PD. Like, I guess she was on a case, and she made contact with some officer because I guess she was like hanging around some area or whatever. And she was like, she said to him, we're in the same field or something to that degree. And she told me that Nice Club didn't hire her because she lied and said that she was in that field. I guess because he had made a complaint about her. Because I guess now Taylor will get very like aggressive about some things. Like, you can ask Cass, there was a situation where they wouldn't put bacon on a donut, and she goes, like, nuts about it. And like I said, like at the bank that day, she was furious with those people because they wouldn't do what she wanted. And Taylor was telling me the story that I guess that the contact she had with the officer or whatever was kind of pissy to some degree or whatever. And I guess he made a complaint because at the time that she was trying to get on there or whatever. So she's confrontational, but anything from donuts to whatever.
Do you know if she was trying to get on with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
She hasn't mentioned it to me.
You know if she has any friends that work there? She mentioned any FDLE or any friends she knows there? Contacts? Ever working for them? Doing any kind of work? Contract work for them?
Mm-hmm. No, she's never mentioned it.
Has she ever gotten an Uber for y'all?
No. I think they did in New Orleans, maybe. But the only time I ever used Uber was in Washington, D.C.
Who do you think paid for the Uber or ordered the Uber?
I have no idea.
And who all would have been the ones who would have ordered it? Would have been out of who? Obviously you didn't.
Well, I wasn't there. I don't know. She just said that they were going out of town and they could take an Uber, but I don't know that they ever did it. I mean, they did have Cass's car. They drove Cass's car over there, so I don't know what they ended up doing.
Do you know if she has an Uber account on her phone?
I've never looked in her phone. She, like I said, she has her locked down. But that's just the way she is, like everything. Like, she keeps her tampons in an ammunition box.
Alrighty.
Tactical.
All things tactical.
Yeah, never know when, That's awesome.
Where do you think we can find her?
My
What did your
best
gut
guess,
tell you?
my gut says Dustin. I don't think she's far.
How do you think she would have gotten there?
I believe that she probably has more friends in Dustin than she's told us about. I mean, she lived there for quite some time.
Has she ever talked about, like, how she would dispose of her body? Have y'all talked about any of that stuff yet?
No.
Taylor always jokes about, like, putting people in a pig farm.
What is that going to do?
I don't know.
I'll have a pig.
Your pig eats
But I
anything,
met
I'm sure.
one.
He
and that
doesn't
was-
eat anything, but he's like,
That was pretty cool.
what's this word? He was supposed to be this word.
From what I understand, pigs will eat humans if they're
I would believe it because
chopped up and stuff.
my pig eats something all day long in my yard. And what it is, I don't know. Because he literally was like this, and then like 2 or 3 days later, his belly was like this. I mean, it looked like he blew up a balloon. I'm like, what is he eating? Because I'm feeding him like a handful of dog food. And he's like this. But he eats all day.
When did that happen?
I mean, just like recently. I mean, like, it didn't take him but like a month and a half to get like that. He went from like this to what he looks like now. I mean, he just, like, all day he eats something in the yard, but I don't know what it is that he's, I mean, I know they root around or whatever, but it's constant.
Watch your dog. You might
Yeah, really.
get the puppy.
He
What
eats
dog you got?
2 labs.
There's plenty of food.
Yeah.
Anyone else you can think of that could maybe point us in another direction or maybe help us with even the smallest little bit of information that could lead into something else? I mean, because you've already provided some stuff that we didn't know, so any minor thing could really...
Like I said, I don't know. I know that she told me that she wanted to go to Savannah, and for whatever reason, Cass didn't want her to go there. So there's somebody in Savannah that she knows, but I don't know who that person is or what the relationship is.
In Jacksonville, I'm assuming.
Yes. I didn't know anything about the Biloxi side of any of that. I've known her to date people in the Destin side.
I mean, how did she meet these people? How did she know that this guy that wanted to have a threesome, how did you know he existed?
I don't really know he existed. Like, the guys that she showed me on the phone that she was dating, I don't know that they exist. Maybe they're just, like, I didn't see even any pictures of Taylor with them, just pictures of them.
Do you recall if it was like a text type picture, or if it was like a website background or Facebook?
They were both beach pictures. Both of the guys that she sent or showed me on her phone were beach pictures. So, and at the time she was living in Destin, so I just assumed that that's where they were from, because that's what's down there.
Yeah.
And she said, she did say that they were Air Force guys, so I mean, that's just common down that way, you know, with Eglin being down there or whatever. It's just, it didn't raise any red flags. And I mean, like I said, like, she's been with Jessica Wood, those two guys that she said, you know, showed me the pictures of or whatever. Cass. A doctor.
What was the doctor? Was she?
It's a she. And some other girl from South Florida. So that's like 7 people that I've known her to like date or be with, whatever, in the past year.
Who's this doctor?
I don't really know who she is. She, I think, was in like New York or something.
Oh, Lord, okay. New York.
But I know that
she does.
I don't know what kind of doctor she is. Cass may know more about her. I think there's 2 or 3 Jessicas that she's dated. Because Cass will refer to them as Jessica 1, 2, or 3.
How, when we talked to Cass earlier, she was telling me that I guess she started fooling around women after the divorce. Has Taylor ever told you, like, what age she figured out that, okay, she may be interested in women? Have y'all ever talked about that?
No. I mean, I kind of laughed at her because, you know, I just been like, Taylor, how do you know? I mean, like, my literal conversation was, I'm like, either you like dick or you don't, and how do you not know that? And she's just like, well, I can like whatever. I'm like, no, how do you not know? I'm like, because I have no questions. Like, you know, I like guys. It's just not something I've ever had to ask myself, you know? And I know that she goes for, I mean, because Jeff, everything I know about him is that he's like this big, sturdy, like military guy. Well, typically, you wouldn't think that somebody that likes girls would go for somebody like that.
Right.
You know, and so it's
very all over the place.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. And so I think, okay, well, and those are the guys that all girls like, you know, the big, like, super tough ones, the big muscles and pretty boy faces, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, just, but, you know, I mean, that's, so you think, okay, well, that's a typical girl thing, you know? And then here she'll switch and be like, no, but I like girls. And I asked Cass that maybe 2 days ago. I said, do you think Taylor is really a lesbian, or is she not? Or what is she? Because now that I've heard that she's told people that she's moving in with Cass and her husband, it appears to me that she's trying to hide that aspect of her life. And to somebody that was supposed to be very close to her, you know, I think, okay, well, you're that close to somebody, that's somebody that you could tell whatever, and they're going to accept you for whatever you're doing. And Cass was like, you know, I don't know. I think she's just confused and doesn't really know who she is. And I don't know. Like, it doesn't make sense to me because, and she couldn't really explain it. She's just like, I like both. And I'm like, well,
even until recently, she's mentioned, obviously,
men.
You and another man.
Yeah.
So it's not like she changed her mind and was like, I'm done with that part of my life.
Right.
I'm now
doing this.
Strictly doing this thing.
Yeah.
She's obviously kind of
the girls that you've seen her with, and I may know Jessica Wood if I saw her, but does she appear to be a real feminine woman, or does she appear to be more of like a muscular, fit? Because
Jess is fit.
Cass is not like the most feminine looking woman either.
No, but Jess is more feminine than Cass is. I mean, Jess has fake boobs, blonde hair. I mean, she's pretty. I mean, she's still kind of like Taylor tries to come across as being a badass, but she's a cop. I mean,
sure.
So it's
just a
personality. Her dad's a cop. I mean, that's what she's from. You know what I mean? So she's not going to be like dainty girl, but she's pretty. And Jessica tries to look pretty. Like when I saw her at the wedding, I mean, she looked very dressed well, makeup. You know, I mean, she doesn't come across as like trying to look like a man or anything like that. Most of the people that she's told me about, like, have seen her around, have been like prettier girls.
Just trying to figure out, you know, big, strong, muscular dude to a girl. I mean,
yeah, and then there's a lot of folks that, you know, we've been given names to or acquaintances, but we don't understand the friendship or relationship of said acquaintance. So are they strictly that, acquaintances, or were they dating? Were they dating at one point? And that's what's one very difficult thing for this case.
And that's the problem is I don't think anybody knows. I mean, Taylor appears to now that I've learned all this stuff, just be this chameleon that like changes and shapeshifts to whatever person she's around and gives them whatever impression she needs to give them.
You know if she's bipolar or anything?
I know that she has gone to some sort of therapist. She did talk to me about that. I know that she has some sort of night terrors, or that's why she said that she was going to a therapist.
Right.
And I think she takes medication for that.
Does she suffer from some kind of PTSD by chance? Has she talked to you about that?
No.
You know what her night terrors are about? Has she ever opened up to you about that?
You said there was another farm up in the north end of the county.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that? Or
it's just another aunt of mine has it.
You recall the road it's off of, or?
I can get it for you.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. I think I mentioned at the house earlier, but does Taylor know about that, or that it exists?
She's never been
Okay.
What farm do they go shoot guns or bows and arrows at? You know?
Who?
Taylor.
I don't know. I've never gone with her to shoot those arrows.
Have you ever heard her talk about going into some place, some land or something to shoot guns and arrows and all?
No, she's never mentioned it to me. I know that I saw when they were moving a bow and some arrows. There's some range she goes to somewhere in Milton, but I don't know where that is. Zach may know.
This is like a public range, or is this something like her and her buddies kind of made up?
That I don't know either. But I know Zach shot with her before. Is the only reason I think he may know that.
Let me go check the phone again and see. See if we're close.
She's never even mentioned the bow to me. I mean, like I said, I saw one when she was moving, but it's just, like, I don't even know what to think now. Like, I don't know whether to be worried about her, to be mad at her, to
We don't either. Cass doesn't
whatever.
either. It's always, that's what Cass tells us anyway. So we don't know. This is a peculiar case in that, in a lot of fashions. You know, she's got multiple sources of income, multiple sources of banking, multiple sex partners of both sexes. So we can't, if you find a list of individuals that I'm acquaintances with, you could know who I potentially, involved with or not, because, it's just how I am. But it's very difficult when you come across 30, 40, or 100 people who are acquaintances and we don't know in what way they were acquaintances. And also, if someone's housing her or allowing her to stay there, why they would be untruthful, or why she would be untruthful, or why she wouldn't come forward. I mean, why, in your mind, you know her, according to everyone else we've talked to, probably now better than anyone. You are, from what everyone says, closer to her than anyone else, including Cass. And that's from Cass herself. In fact, her own words is, I thought I knew her.
But see, and that's me too. And that's the weird part, because I've only known her for a year. You know, I mean, I know what she wants me to know about her, but I don't know any backstory. You know, I know what she's told me she's going through in this, like, recent history, but what the truth of old stuff is, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know her dad's name. I don't know.
And I guess she had mentioned him being dead, and then turning up he's alive.
Yeah. She told, I think, both Cass and I that he was dead.
If she were hiding from everyone, why would she be doing it?
My guess is she thinks Jeff is somehow going to put her in jail. And I don't know really why. Because everything that I know that they have issues with is civil issues.
That's everything that we know. I'm not aware of anything that he could do short of, like, planting a bag of dope in her pocket and calling the police. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't understand, unless there's something else going on that I'm unaware of. As far as this whole safety deposit box, whether it's real or not real, or cashier's checks, trying to get some money, taking credit cards, adding money, there's no crime in that.
No, I mean,
it's all civil.
It's all civil what she's doing. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And that's the second time we've heard that today, is that she may think that she's going to jail, and I don't understand what she could go to jail for.
I don't either. And I don't know what she's that worried about.
I don't know. I don't know why she would be. But we have spent a lot of time and a lot of manpower on this. And if it turns out that you find out from anyone or her that is the case, that she is in fact fine, and that she's just scared she's going to go to jail, just please FaceTime me and say, hey, I'm good, and then hang up. I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're out of the country or...
Exactly. Stand against a white wall, whatever.
I don't give a damn where you're at. You just say, hey, I'm good, and I see you I'm good. I'm out. And that's kind of where we're at. Our goal isn't to prove that try to prove that she's done anything wrong. Our goal isn't to...
I mean, who cares?
We just want to find her. We want to obviously find her healthy. If she's got a drug problem...
Yeah, worry about it. Maybe the drug issue is where she's going with the jail thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not illegal to say you use drugs.
Right.
She can tell me...
If he could prove that he used drugs, at best, he could use it against her for custody issues, but he already has custody, more custody than she does.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense why he would battle it.
I mean, she could walk in here now and say, I'm high on heroin, and I couldn't arrest her for it.
No, because she has nothing.
It's possession of, right. It's not use of. So, you know, and if it turns out that she's like, hey, you know, she contacts you and she says, hey, please don't tell the police, but I'm good. Just please, God, please just call me and let me know or text me.
Oh,
I don't care what time of day or night, just please let me know, because a lot of people are getting involved with this. Poor Chad's got drugged into this. I'm sure he wants to be home with his family.
Oh, I'm sure. Everybody does. Well, it's like, this is, you know, an inconvenience to me.
Sure, your husband's at home. He's, you know, you're waiting for him to cook for you.
All of this has been now, because, like, now I have to deal with all her junk at my warehouse. Now I have to, you know, we had to go have the truck moved and this and that. And she didn't do what she told me she was going to do with that, and empty it out and whatever. So kind of dumps everything on everybody.
Sure.
And I mean, I hate that for Cass too, because now she's like,
She's
all this shit.
She's in a very odd position because she wants to help, or she comes off as if she wants to help.
I genuinely think she does. It's just like when we talked about it before, you know, we told her, we'll get you help with the drug thing. And she tells us it's not a problem. She's not addicted to it. She's just done it the 3 times, whatever. And of course, Zach is like, yeah, she's lying to y'all, are stupid. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Aside from Taylor digs at her skin is the only thing I've ever liked. And I didn't know if that was like an anxiety thing, which it can be. It can be a drug thing. It can be...
Which is an anxiety thing. If it is a drug thing,
right.
It's part of...
But you would see her. She would always be like digging her face, digging in her arms.
Have you ever heard or thought she may be using methamphetamine?
I didn't think she was using cocaine.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I know meth messes up her teeth, and her teeth look fine.
That doesn't necessarily always have to, though.
But she did, you know, I mean, and Cass could probably tell you more about that, but it seemed like for a little bit she had stopped, but, I mean, she was back at it, but, I mean, you would just sit there and kind of watch her, and she would just kind of like...
Which is common with meth.
Just, like, you know, just all the time, just...
Have you ever noticed any needle marks or...
I mean, that's the difficult thing about all this, like, half of this stuff, it's kind of like in one ear, because you don't know to even really pay attention or be concerned about it, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, when you're not around people, like, now, had you have been associated with, like, a prior ex or something that was a narcotics user, you know, those things may flag, but with you, I don't think that you've really been associated with...
Not enough to pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, did she, like, frequently, like, go to the restroom a lot? Or for longer periods of time than normal?
I didn't notice it, but I also didn't pay attention. Like, I just don't think about a lot of that stuff a lot of time, because typically I'm just doing what I have to do, you know? But Cassie told me that she spent a lot of time going to the bathroom. Like, it was very difficult for her, but I don't know.
Cass said that she had that Taylor
had some sort of issue.
Difficult time going to the restroom. Not like, I don't know what's going on with her. She's always in the restroom.
No.
Like a medical type. Okay.
Because she told us that she had cancer. Now we're kind of finding out that maybe she didn't have cancer.
Pre-cancer stuff.
Maybe something, who knows? At this point, who knows how much of this stuff is real, because we're getting so much, and you've heard so many different things.
And that's the problem, like, we've just been inundated with, like, a lot of crazy information about her that nobody knew.
Yeah.
What, this is Cass's phone. She left it with us. What kind of letter is she talking about? She wanted to go take a picture of it, and looks like she couldn't get through to the box it was in because James' packing skills are so phenomenal.
Yeah. Something about... I think she had written a letter to Cass after the incident occurred. And I think that's what she was looking for.
When you say incident...
After we had that discussion about the Biloxi and the cooking.
Honesty night.
Yeah.
This is commonly referred to as honesty night.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did the Steve Williams guy call you from the Milton K-9?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that was the private investigator company she's talking about.
I don't know. I never got a call.
You stay up late. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. She's texting you.
Just don't text me at 7. I'm much more of a nighttime person than a daytime person.
Really?
Yeah.
No, this is the latest I've been at work, and it's a new investigation.
I'm usually in bed by this point.
What time is it?
9:30.
9:30.
Your husband's going to be starving.
Zach's going to be wanting to know what in the hell's going on.
I'm sure you understand. What is all these pictures of knives and guns that you texted? What is all that about?
That's stuff we found in Taylor's car.
Where's all this stuff at now?
In the office.
Have you seen her guns before that?
No.
She never, did you, so earlier you had said that you believe that she may carry or can still carry? Or
Oh, she makes that no doubt to anybody.
has she ever shown you? Like, hey,
Oh, yeah,
like
she
it?
always has a gun.
Any of the guns that y'all found, are those, is that the same gun?
No, I've never. She usually carries a stainless gun that I've seen. Is the one that I've seen her with.
The silver type
Yeah.
color. And we haven't found that gun. So, for our knowledge, she may still be in possession of said gun.
She usually has tactical knives and
How was her attitude at the farm?
she really wasn't in a bad mood. The only thing that she ever got upset about was the thing with Jeff and the jail time. I mean, she seemed pretty okay. I mean, like, she was talking about going to that wedding on Saturday. And she was pretty upbeat about that.
What did y'all do out there?
We just went around and looked at the horses and the pigs and all the donkeys.
Were y'all together there the whole time? She never ran off?
She walked away. We were just kind of, I was looking at some of the horses and she would look at other things or whatever. We just walked around and we came back home. And we really just were killing time.
Okay.
Like, I didn't think she was, like, she would never appeared to have done any, like, drugs then. And didn't seem, I mean, like I said, she had beer during the day, but.
Did she express any time that day that she didn't want to talk to Cass?
No, I mean, we talked about.
When she was upset or I don't want to talk to her, she's been annoying.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, like I said, we had a conversation about was she going to stay? Was this something that she could settle down and behave with?
Sure.
Well, what was Jeff telling her to change your locks, prop a door up, put bells in the windowsill? What is that all about?
That's what I was telling you when we were downstairs.
Yeah.
Jeff was explaining to Cass, and Cass was really worried about it, that I guess there had been multiple times that there was a lot of violence or something between Taylor and Jeff. And so he kind of scared Cass because he's like, if she has a key to your house, you need to change your locks, you need to do all this. And so Cass was pretty.
So I'm assuming she has a key to her house.
Oh, Taylor has it. Yeah.
Out of the farm, are these like pet animals, or you like ride the horses?
Well, the horses are rideable. I mean, like my daughter spends a lot of time out there too. They, do some rodeo stuff or whatever. I mean, the donkeys are just pets and stuff like that. But I mean, the horses you can ride, and I mean, there's a couple out there that aren't broke to ride, whatever. They're basically animal hoarders.
Mm-hmm. How does that work with it? You just hop on the horse and just go, or you have to have the little seat?
Oh, the saddles and stuff like that.
Do they keep all that stuff out there?
Oh, yeah.
Did y'all ride any horses?
She hopped on one, but I mean, because some of them you can hop on bareback. Some of them are easier than others to deal with. They've got some old horses that are like super, super kid safe, and then they've got barrel horses and.
I don't know nothing about horses. So.
But.
So she jumped up on one of the horses a little bit.
Sort of like, Taylor likes to be the, I can do all things kind of person.
Do you know who this Amy Bluestein person is?
I don't. I don't know a lot of the people that, like, I've found out about lately.
It was 910-934-9996. Is that the husband?
One's a husband, one, I don't know.
910 is like North Carolina number.
One's a husband, I do know that. I actually,
Because she's talking to someone up here, and I guess she sent you a text message of a blip.
Oh,
Is that
that's
her
going to be
husband?
Barb. It depends on what the blip is.
It says, I'm confused. What do you mean cheating on you? I thought you were married and she was living with you and your husband.
Okay, that's Barb.
Okay, we might want to contact Barb.
That's the lady I was telling you about that works as a police officer, the one that told the...
what's Barb's number?
910-934-9996.
Yep. Okay.
That's the one I was telling you about that was supposedly very good friends with Taylor and is a police officer herself. And then she's the one that said that she didn't necessarily think that Taylor was fit to come back as an officer. And that, as part of that, what I was telling you, that she said she was going to be living with Cass and Cass's husband.
Do you know if Barb has a Facebook?
I don't.
We can probably find on that phone.
Yeah. Do you have a Facebook?
I do.
Do you communicate, or have you communicated in the past with Taylor on Facebook or Instant Messenger?
She may have, sent me something on Facebook, but I'm not a huge Facebook user. I mean, I've seen her pictures and stuff on Facebook, but...
Have you, when was the last time you communicated with anyone via Facebook? Like Messenger?
Oh, probably today on Facebook Messenger or whatever. Because there's a girl that my daughter's looking at another horse on there. And then, friends, if I see something funny on Facebook, most of the time the only person that I've texted on there is the lady that, with the horse, but most of the, funny stuff, instead of, sharing it on my page, I'll, send in Messenger, you can share, send in Messenger or whatever, if it's, a funny, meme thing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or, an article or whatever, I'll send it to somebody. But my Facebook page is basically recipes.
Okay. There's another 910 number that I suspect is the child's. But the father's, or ex-husband is, apparently has that number.
Does anybody know where her number came from?
Where Taylor's?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them.
We know her number that everybody knows. We know where it belongs or who it belongs to.
Where were you under the impression that it came from?
She just told me that she was on somebody's plan, but I didn't know who that person was.
Did she ever say a name?
Is that how she knew him?
I just thought it was odd because, most people get rid of cell phones.
Yeah. Some people have too.
Yeah. But I mean, it's strange not to have your own cell phone. Why be on somebody else's plan, though?
Yeah.
I just was curious because it always, it will pop up as some sort of South Florida number.
Imagine that she has some kind of integrity issue with work. That's why that's when she left working up there.
Hmm.
At least that's what Barbara said. I think you read that. It's sent to you, right?
Yeah.
If she were to intentionally try to stay gone this entire time, and if that's what her intent is, that's what's going on, do you think that she would have traveled to North Carolina to hang out with Barb? Or do you think that Barb would be receptive and, cool with that?
I don't know Barb, and I've never even heard her talk to Barb around me, but I would say no. Everything that she's ever said to me about Barb is that she was, I think her husband is in the military, and like Barbara's law enforcement. She seems very straight-laced with kids, and I think they have a son, maybe sons that are similar age range. I know that she spent some time with her when she went up to take Drake back to Jeff this last time.
Is that the whole, like, watching the cop incident?
Yeah, when
following
she did
around
that,
and
yeah.
meet me at Lowe's, no this Lowe's, no that
Right.
Lowe's. Okay.
I think the husband's number is 5578. Right?
Stand by.
Because there's text messages that you would have saw talking about. They found out that the Tyco private investigator account until 3 days prior to the final hearing. And
That is correct.
okay.
Have you spoke to Brian
No.
Mulback? Detective Mulback? Facebook detective?
No. The reason I looked at you funny is because I don't know. I think there's another Brian.
Oh, is there?
I don't know if that's what you're talking about, because I think that there's a Brian that has something to do with the Destin situation. It may be like Ray's husband or boyfriend or...
Connected to Rainey?
Mm-hmm.
How do you spell Rainey?
I guess Rainey.
And this is someone that she used to live with,
Yes,
not date.
right.
That
As
we
far as
know
I know.
of.
So she like screwing over health insurance companies? What it sounds like.
So we've heard. I mean, I knew that she told me that she had that big settlement, and that was part of that
Doesn't she
co-family.
investigate insurance fraud?
Yeah, so she probably knows ways to...
How to do it.
Have you heard of that insurance check, that $250,000 check?
First I've heard of it.
That should be easy to find out.
Well, supposedly it's involved in the court stuff, because it's that was her complaint, is that it had been commingled at some point, and
That's a lot of money.
it is.
$250,000.
But
Decent.
I think she was in a bad wreck, and I asked Cass, do you know that she actually was in the wreck? And she said, yeah, she does have like some sort of issue where she was in a wreck, but
I mean, her husband
Who would know?
can confirm all that.
oh, I would. Well, I'm sure the court records can, because if they've listed as commingled, they have had to know about
I
it.
was curious where the $100,000 came from. He was a military guy. He's not going to make that much money.
Unless they've,
Who keeps
they've obviously
around?
dabbled in some real estate, which can be lucrative, but 100 G's cash is still
That's a lot of money.
substantial.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't know about that Atlanta house. That day that she left was the first time I'd heard about the Atlanta house. I can understand why you would want to pull your hair out, because like I want to pull mine out just with having to learn all this, because you think you know somebody and you think you try to help them, and then you come to find out like you have no clue who they are, and it's just like, what? I let my child around this person and I don't know,
Yeah. I mean, I know there's probably not much there, but where is your kid?
My child?
Yeah.
She's at my aunt's right now.
Has she ever been left alone and maybe, how old is your kid?
She's 16.
Okay, so she's old enough
Yeah.
to talk and know what's going on.
Okay.
Do you think she would have any information, or do you think that she and Cass or Taylor ever had a talk or anything?
I think they have. I mean, Savannah confided in Taylor that she has had sex before. She doesn't want to.
I'm sure that was not a conversation you were looking forward to.
No, not at all. Apparently it was just once though, so I don't know about that, but like still, not what you want to hear as a mom. But it's probably been 3 months or so since Savannah has seen Taylor.
Okay.
But she did go to, I think the last time she saw Taylor was back in May. I think they went to Fiesta. Savannah was with Cass and Taylor at Fiesta. They went to a parade downtown together.
Okay. I'll be right back. Chad, you get that, Chad? Is your husband looking for you?
Oh.
Probably worried about you. These things just sometimes take time. We want to go over every little thing and trying to
This
get
is
that.
confusing. I mean, it's hard to piece it together.
It is. There's a lot of, and like I said earlier, you've provided a lot of information that we didn't know. We didn't know where the money came from. We didn't know whether she took the money from Jeff or if she got the money from somewhere else and told Jeff, hey, it's from work. Jeff wasn't, I couldn't talk to Jeff at the time earlier when I wanted to. So we had no clue. We didn't know whether we needed to start looking at someone that she may have like ripped off somewhere. Or is that a possible lead? I mean, and so now it comes out this is possibly, who knows, if this is money from an insurance settlement. Or is that something you were told?
Right.
So we'll look into that. Jeff should be able to confirm or deny, or we can subpoena court records and figure it out.
I mean, that should, like, based on what she's told me, I would think it's in the court record somewhere, or at least, I mean, then there's no reason for Jeff not to say one way or another.
No, I'm
I mean,
sure he will
obviously.
once he's available. I'm interested to know if that's the case or not, if that's factual. Because it's the first time I've heard of anything about a crash, anything about $250,000. First it was 30 cash, and then it was maybe a few cashier's checks, and then it was like 20 now cash with a lot of cashier's checks, or a fairly substantial amount.
Exactly.
And then I heard something about $100,000, and then now I'm hearing $250,000. So you can see where we're.
The whole thing. I mean, it's just so convoluted. And who knows? Like, that's the thing. Like, everybody gets a different piece of some sort of something.
Well, she's going around and telling all of y'all different things.
Right.
And we go around and we ask all y'all these same questions.
Right. And then you get 18 different
so
answers.
we're getting all these different things, and they're not matching up with what this person said. And it's not that we necessarily believe that you're being untruthful. It's because I think that you were provided different information.
And that's the problem. I think everybody was. It's just like that with her saying, like, I'm moving in. Or she told someone she was building a house. She's not Cass is. She said she was building a house. And then she told somebody else that she knew in Cass and her husband. Cass doesn't have a husband. She's lesbian, and she's with Taylor. And then somebody else is, or like I know that she's moving in with Cass, and Cass is building a house. And everybody knows, like, some sort of fraction of something that, and none of it makes any sense.
And that's why we have to talk to every single person and go through these things so detailed, because each person may have one little small piece that could end up giving us a clue on as to where she may be, or hopefully she's fine. Hopefully she's fine, but it's not. I don't care who you are. We all have our backgrounds and things that we feel that we're comfortable in handling our own and take care of ourselves. But at the end of the day, it's not safe for anyone to walk around with $20,000 cash.
No, especially in a drug situation, if you have any link to that.
Because
that's what people would be looking for.
I don't care how much training you got. There's always someone out there, and there's
Tougher
always
than you, that's whatever.
There's always a situation you can be put in that I don't care how tough you are. There's no one that can get out of it.
No.
And cash is, a lot less. I've seen people do a lot of worse things.
They'll rob you and kill you for $5.
For a lot less money.
How many,
food,
gas stations?
Food stamp cards. Food stamp cards.
Yeah, because I guess you can sell those as the new commodity.
There's all kinds of things.
I heard that just the other day. I was shocked. Apparently, you can buy $200 worth of food stamp cards for $100 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm how are these people getting around this? And they're like, oh, they sell them. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to track all this stuff down. Obviously, whenever you get that information about that other farm,
okay,
we'll gladly take that and see what we can do about getting out there, sending someone out there. And when you do send, if you could send the contact information for the property owner.
Sure.
We're not in the business of going on people's property without permission.
Gotcha.
Now, these people, are they local? And the aunties or aunts?
Yeah, they are local.
Okay. So if need be, they may be willing to meet us and
I'm sure.
kind of show us around, but I don't want to get eaten by some pig,
I think you'll be fine. There's no vicious animals.
So we will. We need that. Are there any other? You said that she left property at your house sometimes. What stuff of hers is at your house?
I don't have anything of hers at my house anymore. Mm-hmm. Everything is at my office.
To your knowledge, are there any electronics at your office?
That I don't know. You have to ask Cass.
Laptops, tablets, desktops.
We found
phones.
A tablet in her car, and Cass took that in and I think charged it. Like a iPad thing. And then I think Cass has a couple laptops of hers.
Cass has a couple laptops of
Taylor's.
Mm-hmm. 2? Mm-hmm. Are you certain of 2 laptops? Hey, Cat. Sorry, we're trying to get another machine up, see if it'll pull it quicker.
Do you want me to leave it with you?
It's up to you.
I mean, I can.
It's entirely up to you. That's actually what another individual did, and we are going to contact that individual as soon as we can get it off, whether it's tonight or tomorrow, and arrange whether they come down here or we bring it to them. We're cool with whatever. We'll be back in here bright and early, and we can do that.
That's fine with me.
Okay. Let me holler at him, see if he's got anything else. Yeah. We're good with that. You're good with that.
Yeah, just let me give you Zach's number, and that way you can contact me.
This is this whole case, bro.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Found anybody. What a nightmare.
Okay. Go ahead.
850-554-1571.
Okay, perfect. I'll walk you down. Thanks for coming up here. I know that I hope this doesn't bother you, Zach.
Oh, no.
That wasn't at all our intention.
Well, that's all I have for you this evening, ladies and gentlemen. This was Ashley's first interrogation. She wasn't arrested after this. She comes back in a month later to be questioned again. If you liked this interrogation, you might like the next one even more. So make sure you turn on the bell notifications for Crime Circus. Consider joining my Patreon or YouTube membership. And also, remember to stay safe out there because you know it's a dangerous world.